call to order. The regular meeting of the Governing Board of Trustees of the Willits Unified School District is called to order at 4:02. Roll call, we have Ms. King. And
I'm here.
am I supposed to call each person or they just say they're here?
You don't really need a roll call, I mean, for beginning of the meeting, but it's okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, we know that Mr. Bowles is out, well, so
Yeah,
we
you
have
can just say the
everybody
rest
else.
of the board is present.
Rest of the board is present. Are there any change? There is a brief change or a slight change to the agenda, because we flipped. On 7, the informational, we flipped C in front of B, because we're going to be getting the district or the county, the head of the district for the county, here to celebrate with us, and so we're getting her before we start the dashboard presentation by Aurora. And then the other thing is the break will be moving up to below number C before CSEA comments. Other than that, are there any changes to the agenda? I'm sorry? Did you say, did you say something?
Moving the break 13 to up above CSEA comments, is that
Yes,
what you said?
correct.
Oh, okay. Thanks, I didn't completely understand.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as changed?
I'll move to make that motion.
Second?
1 second.
Okay. And now we go into closed
All in
session.
favor?
All in favor? I forgot that. Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now we go into closed session. Hi. Welcome to this evening's school board meeting. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And
Now please rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
okay, thank you. We have the report out of closed session. Mr. Beebe?
Yes, on item A, the board agreed to approve at a 4-0 with trustee Bowles not being here tonight. And then item B, on issue transfers, the board approved 4-0, again with trustee Bowles not being present. And then ongoing for our closed session items was an update on safety measures in the district as discussed and
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry for being a little bit slow here. The next thing we have is the informational. We have this announcement of the Student of the Month at Sherwood Elementary School.
woo-hoo,
Who's doing that?
let's go. Dr. Crossman. We gotta be a little more excited than that, come on now.
Come on.
So, my name is Kathy Crossman, and I'm the principal of Sherwood. And we are so excited. We were given the opportunity this year to be able to recognize Students of the Month, one board meeting, and then also to recognize a classified employee of the month and a certificated employee of the month. So we left it up to our staff members and our faculty to determine who they felt is the most deserving of these honors. And our teachers are going to each be announcing the students of the month, and I'm going to be focusing on the staff and faculty. So why don't we start with Miss Teresa Hall. Miss Teresa is the K1 teacher at Sherwood.
start with Agata. This is Agata. She is an outstanding student. She is often the first student to raise her hand or tell an answer. She's often quicker than even the big kids with her answers. Even though she's in kindergarten, she is performing at a first grade level. She does all of her work with the first graders, and she's doing awesome. She loves to run and play outside and spend time with her friends. She plays with everyone. She is a friend to all. And she is so helpful and enthusiastic about learning. Something special about Agata is how much she loves to dress up. And sometimes she comes to school as her alter ego, Unicorn Magic Sparkle. And even when she's in unicorn mode, she still always gets all of her work done, and she always does a great job. She is an asset to Sherwood School, and we're so happy to have her here. And if you want to come up, Agata, I have a certificate for you. Got it. Very good. I Right. Should I announce the kids that aren't here today too?
Yeah.
Okay. Avon, his mom is here. Avon, he is one of the most responsible and on-target students that I have ever taught. He is kind to everyone he meets. He is always helpful. He's really artistic and funny. And my favorite is when he combines those skills. So when he combines his art with his creative writing, with his sense of humor, it is always really funny. Today he wrote a story about an old lady who swallowed a very hungry caterpillar. It was great. What makes Avon such a great student is that he isn't afraid to try new things, even when they're hard, even if he doesn't get it right the first time. He just always has that "I'll try it" attitude, which it's great. It's a really great skill as a student. He loves learning, and he rises to every challenge I set for him. He's a fantastic student, and I'm really glad to have him in my class. Let's go with Ryder, who's sitting right over there in the back. Ryder was the very first, come on up. Ryder was the very first Sherwood student that I ever got to meet. He came in when we were working over the summer, and at first he was really nervous because a lot of things were changing. There were big changes at Sherwood School, and change is hard. But even though he was nervous, he still came in for lots of hours and helped me clean up and get organized and get ready. And while he was helping me, he told me all of the stories and all of the things that made Sherwood School such a special place, so that we could make sure that we kept all of the important traditions going. And I think that Ryder's superpower is just how much he cares. He cares about everything: his friends, his family, his school, his community. He's really a thoughtful, awesome kid. He's the first one to raise his hand to volunteer. He's always a friend. He's always like, I'll wipe that table, I'll grab that iPad, I'll get everything organized. He's a great helper, a great friend, a great student, and a really important member of Sherwood School. So let me get you this one. Here you go, Ryder. All right, and Asher also, do you want to go stand next to Bata? Asher couldn't make it today. He is a kindergartner. He is a leader in our class. He isn't afraid to get silly, but he always gets his work done. He started a running months-long joke in our class. If there is a sentence starter, it probably involves a flying pizza. Oh my goodness, he's doing awesome in kindergarten. He's a whiz at his high-frequency words, and he really understands how sounds work in words. He's a great student. We have a lot of really awesome students at Sherwood School. Right, and that is it from me.
You know what, why don't the parents go up so I can get a picture?
Oh, hey, we got here something.
See?
Don't send me. Mom and Dad.
Right here.
I'm back.
Oh, Heather's got
Okay.
Because we all know the parents are the ones who
He makes it
help the
easy.
kids. So we appreciate you, parents.
exemplary character, and a passion for learning that sets him apart. Abel not only excels in the classroom, but also exhibits exceptional leadership qualities and a willingness to go above and beyond to contribute positively to our school community. Abel consistently displays kindness, respect, and a genuine concern for others. His positive attitude and strong work ethic create an uplifting atmosphere within our school, making him a role model for his fellow students. Congratulations on Abel's Outstanding Student Award, a well-deserved honor for an outstanding student who truly embodies the spirit of our Sherwood School community. So we'll give them a round.
Minus Smoke, your second, third.
Oh, excuse me, our second, third grade teacher. Then my second student I want to recognize, I'm thrilled to recognize my extraordinary third grade student, Alexi. Hey, want to come up here? Lexi's remarkable academic achievements and technological prowess makes her an asset to our Sherwood School community. Lexi has demonstrated a level of technological proficiency that is truly beyond her years. Whether it's mastering educational software, creating captivating multimedia presentations, or assisting classmates with tech-related challenges, Lexi has proven to be a standout tech enthusiast. Lexi is also an impressive actor, and she projects confidence and poise during performances. Lexi brings an infectious enthusiasm for learning and is an inspiration to her classmates. Congratulations, Lexi, on your outstanding student award.
Alexi's hands.
Beautiful smile. She's all embarrassed.
I didn't get the,
Mr. Beebe can take
I didn't put two and two together, that they're the same.
Oh, thank you. No deal.
Lift that up.
Anna, our fifth grade teacher.
Hi. I chose two students to honor in my class. I'll start with the one that's here, Charlotte Gray. Did you come up? So Charlotte is a new student to Sherwood School this year, and she didn't start with us on the first day, but she came and shadowed, and she decided that Sherwood was a good fit for her. So we were really happy to have her join our class. Charlotte is an exceptional student. She's a delight to have in class. She's an extremely skilled mathematician, and she's an avid reader. She also has a passion for writing. She often will do the writing assignment, and then she'll be like, "Oh, Miss Savannah, can I do 5 or 6 more things?" I'm like, "Sure, Charlotte, if you want to do more, you're always welcome to write more." She's kind to all of her classmates and peers, and she really embodies the spirit of Sherwood. She offers insightful comments during class and always participates in discussions. She's also always willing to help. She's like often, first hand up, when somebody passes out papers, Charlotte's there. I appreciate her willingness to help myself and other students and her positive, joyous personality that is contagious throughout campus. So thank you, Charlotte. It's a well-deserved award.
Charlotte is also my granddaughter. Miss Heather, can you get pictures?
All right, now he wants to go.
So the second student I honored in my class, she wasn't able to make it, I guess. She's a 5th grade student. Her name is Naya Locke. And she is new to Willits Unified this year. She came to us from Arizona, and she is a great addition to Willits Unified, and especially Sherwood. She, like Charlotte, is a wonderful student. She is very happy every day. She's one of the first students to arrive at school. She comes in smiling. I don't ever think I've seen her have like a bad or off day, which is amazing because we all do that. And she is also excelling in math as well as reading and writing. She's a strong reader. She often will volunteer to read out loud and when other students are maybe timid or afraid. She is also always willing to help and is particularly kind to the younger students in our Sherwood population, which since she's in 5th grade, she is one of the oldest students we have on campus. She also embodies the Sherwood spirit and just the kindness and willingness to help, and I always love seeing her smiles and lovely personality around campus. So I'll be giving her award tomorrow, but we can give her a round of applause.
Thank you, that was so kind. It's always great to see the kids, isn't it? I have the lucky honor of awarding 2 outstanding staff members, and let me just tell you, whoever they picked was going to be the perfect choice, because any single person who works there, every single one of them are just so on top of it, wanting to do the right thing, making good choices for the kids, and always just giving. So I really appreciate each and every single one of you. But the staff had to choose, and Trevor Muller, Mr. Muller. And I think this is really special because his colleagues wrote this about him, so come on up here. Everybody wants to see you. Okay, Trevor is a phenomenal para, PE teacher, playground supervisor, and FOSSI member. He is universally loved by all of the students and staff at Sherwood. He goes above and beyond every day to keep our students happy, safe, and propelling forward in learning. He is always jumping in to solve problems, fix a fence, grab a toolbox, or chase a cow off of the campus. And I was there when that happened. He took the time to really get to know each of the kids on an individual level and often has insightful feedback to help our students grow. Thank you so much. Okay, and our certificated employee is Anna Stuffin. So Anna Pern is an amazing educator. She pours her all into her classroom. She is constantly working late and on the weekends. Her whole family shows up to support Sherwood and make all the magic happen. Anna Perna often volunteers to take more roles on and support our kids. She is our team lead and our CAPS representative. She is also a very active member of FOSSI and has taken on an independent study caseload as well. She is skilled at getting kids to buy in and care about school and their work. And the person who wrote this said she got to see some of her students come in after break, and they were so excited to be back at school. They rushed to their desks and passed their reports and recorders and were giddy with happiness to be back. Thank you for making it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing originally on here was a dashboard presentation by Aurora, but that's going to be switched with the Willits Unified School District Board recognition by Nicole Willits.
We should probably allow
Here, actually, you want to get hits on that?
Oh,
Well, I'm so glad that we got to come to this board meeting and see students and staff we recognize. I'm Nicole Lenster, I'm the county superintendent of schools, and with me tonight is Charlene Ford. She is one of our county board of education. She represents the Willits area. And we wanted to come tonight because January is board member recognition month. And on behalf of myself and the Board of Education for the County of Mendocino, we have a proclamation, but that I won't read because that's very boring. But we will leave it and ask that staff can maybe send it to the board members for you to see. But it's basically recognizing the hard work that you as elected officials do, supporting our schools. There's a lot of work that board members do that goes unrecognized. In fact, some of your best work is sometimes unrecognized, and meanwhile you are often under pressure for things that are not even under your purview. So it's a hard role, and it's gotten more difficult over the last few years. And so we really appreciate the work that you do to serve the students of Willits and the students of our county. And we wanted to recognize that. So leave these, we've got little gifts for you to just honor and recognize you this month for the work that you do. And I know Charlene had a few words that she wanted to say as well.
It's wonderful being in Willits with school activities, because I taught here at the high school for 21 years, and I just see former students all the time, and it's wonderful living where you work. So anyway, it's such a blessing to be on the county board, and it's just, everything is working together. Thank you.
So thank you, and we'll probably stick around for at least part of the meeting, but please don't be offended when we sneak out having the meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Aurora?
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. Our California dashboard gives us a view of how we performed, what we accomplished the last school year, and it breaks it down by race, by subgroup. Oh, I'm sorry, something popped up over here. It breaks it up by all the different subgroups, all the different demographics. So we could take a look and see exactly where we're at, how we're, oh, you were able to do it. Thank you. Perfect. And I don't have to do it on there. Okay, so can you go to the first slide? All right, so as a district, you'll see the different bands. You can barely see it, but where it says all students, you'll see the different bands. So they're the different areas that we're moving through. And the goal is to move at the very least one every year. But you can see that as a district, we have improved quite a bit. And I was taking a look at seeing how we have performed in comparison to other districts, because this is new to me. So our district has improved in ELA and English Language Arts by 18.8 points. So we're moving in the right direction, but you'll also see the breakdown by subgroup. This gives us a better idea of what kids we need to focus more on, what kiddos we need to take a look and see, what changes we need to provide, what interventions. So we have a wonderful bond with, oh, she left. I was going to point out Tina that was just sitting there. That we are working with our community and community members in regards to trying to help our kiddos progress and working and serving the child as a whole, not just at the school, but through community partners as well. Next one. I'm a visual learner, so here just gives you a view of how from 2022 to 2023, how we're doing. So we're progressing a little bit. It's going upwards, so that is the goal as a district to move up. We know by our subgroup information which areas we need to work harder on or change what we're doing, because obviously it didn't work. So our staff at all of our sites are working diligently this year and identifying their essential standards, deconstructing them, and ensuring that their instruction is more targeted. I had a high school teacher that shared with me as we're going through this process and said, oh, wait a minute, we're trying to cram way too much into one school year. We want to make sure that we are strategic and hitting specific things first. Think of it like a soccer camp. You want to make sure what strategies, what skills do you want these kids to leave with? So this is what we're doing. We're trying to target specific skills, specific concepts before they leave that course. And obviously we want to surpass that, but we want to ensure that these basic concepts are learned, and our teachers are working really hard. If you ask any school site, they're working either during their early outs or after school. In a lot of schools, they're using their after school time to really redefine what they're teaching. Next one. So here we have our math. We increased in our mathematics as well, 11.7 points, and we moved up a band. In all of our areas, we've moved up a band, which is great. So part of the differentiated assistance is that we want to move up, but we want to ensure that all of our subgroups, once again, are moving up. So this tells us the different areas that we need to focus on. The one thing that I didn't mention on the previous slide, here we have Brookside Elementary, and if there's any Brookside TK2 teachers here, you'll know that those teachers they're not administering the SBAC, they're not administering the CASP to the students. So what they have is what is called a pair and share. So if Melissa and I both were at Brookside and now we are at Blosser in 3rd grade together, then our scores count towards Brookside. So that's how that lovely part works. And once again, we're moving upwards, but we need to fine tune what we're doing and how we're doing it with our different subgroups. Let's see, the next one here, we have our English learners. All of our English learners are progressing. We are in the green. We're doing great with this area. I broke it down by school site so you can see where we're at. The big difference is right now that we have different curriculums in place, different people in place. They are having English language development provided in the classroom. And personally, I think that's great because the general ed teacher gets to know exactly what those kids need in regards to the English language development. It was a big change though. But all of our kids are doing quite well. You're going to have a large group with the reclassification at the end of the year, by the way. Just giving you guys a heads up. Yeah. Next one we have here is our chronic absenteeism. So this is the only one that shows that we declined as a district, but we want to decline as a district in this one. So this is all our students in all these different schools here. It doesn't have the high schools because it only goes up to, this only considers our students up to grade 8. But we've been working as a team with teachers, with administrators. I know we've been doing more home visits, more community partnering with our tribes in our area to ensure that we are all getting the kiddos to school, or like I like to call it, we have an a la carte menu that we're trying to provide and figure out what exactly they need, whether it's we're moving from just calling and reminding parents to bring the kids to school, to going out to the homes, to bringing in other resources, other community partners. And it showed, and it should show even more so for next school year, because I think we're being more aggressive in this area. If the kids are not present, then the rest is not going to happen. So the last, almost to the end here, with our suspension rate, our suspension did increase. We are in the red in this one. And we are, you'll see by ethnicity, by socioeconomic disadvantage, students, disabilities, and our ELs. We have all of them here, but this school year is the year that we are exploring and incorporating and training staff in regards to social emotional learning and trying to be proactive and provide that first instruction in regards to behavioral, having that academic presence, teaching them how to be a student, how to interact with others, how to problem solve, how to have working on mending relationships so that issues don't continue year to year with kids. But this is going to be a challenge, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this changes for next year, especially with all the work that the school sites are putting in. Our graduation rates have also increased by 12.6%. We are in the green as a district, but we still have work to do. In my happy little world, it would be at 100%. We would want all of our kids doing this, all of our kids graduating. With our students, we're taking a look at and we're currently, for instance, at Sanhedrin, we're currently in the process of identifying which kids are no longer with us from 9th grade, that were there at 9th grade that are no longer with us, trying to figure out where they're at. We're calling them, trying to get them back into school. There was one that I found out where he's at, and he's only 15 credits short. It's like, okay, you can do this, come on. So we're texting, talking, trying to communicate, trying to get them to finish up. There's some kids that really don't realize how close they are to finishing, and others that all need different supports. So we're trying to fill the gaps in regards to the individual needs. And the last one there are all the different standards that we have met that do not fall into these different representations with the different subgroups and all that. So these are all the different areas that the state does look at to ensure that we are in compliance, following through, and taking care of our kids as if they were our own. So thank you, any parents that are still in the audience, for sharing custody of the kids with us. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have some questions. Can you explain to me the -7% or the minus any percent? Is that trying to say that since last year we have less kids? So it's a -3.2 or a -7.8 or whatever. Just stick with one deal even. How
Do you
about
mind
going to
going to
suspension?
slide 5, please? So if you're going, this slide on page 5 of the presentation, you'll see where at the middle there's a line.
Mhm.
It's the standard. That's what you want to go to. That's at the very least what you're trying to hit.
Right.
Okay? So if we were at, say, if we were at, here we go, oh, she did.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay,
mine doesn't.
that's okay. So if, right here on page 5 shows that we were right under 100 and we went up, we're reaching it. But if we dropped and by a so this is overall, but if a subgroup dropped, that's where you get the minus. If their score dropped for the year, then that's where you would get the minus. It shows us that that subgroup of kiddos fell behind, would have a lower score than the previous year. That's essentially what it's showing. It's not that we have less kids or more kids. It's where they scored overall.
So if we can scoot up to conditions and climate, or suspension, they're all about the same, mathematics. It seems that, yeah, that's just as good. It seems that the district's in the red, and at Blosser, 3% of our Hispanic kids are like in a positive number, which means they've increased, right?
Yes.
In their skills and abilities.
This one here, it means that we increase the number, this is suspension by subgroup. So this means that they increase the number of suspensions. If it's in the
The
positive.
suspension, no, we're in conditions and climate talks about how they feel at school, right? Or are we?
So they use graduation rates, they use attendance, they use suspension, all fall under that umbrella.
The conditions and climate umbrella. Okay, and so what it's saying when you see a negative 0.7% is what?
So we had a little bit less suspensions last year than the previous.
Than the previous year. We don't necessarily know that they just felt more comfortable at the site or they felt more involved.
This
in
is not the
school.
Healthy Kids survey, that's where you would get that type of feedback from a survey like for instance, the Healthy Kids.
Oh, okay, so the healthy and safe welcoming part isn't what this is related to.
So they consider if a person feels connected, if a student feels connected to the school, there's gonna be less disciplinary issues, less
Right.
attendance, the graduation rate, those are good indicators of graduation rates going up. So it's, the conditions and climate encompass all of those together.
Okay.
But this specific slide is your suspension rate.
Okay, so then in graduation rates, if our kids are at Hispanic clusters are the ones I pay a lot of attention to. So if a Hispanic student in a group of Hispanic students were following this graduation rate thing, a negative 2.5% of them means that from last year, they didn't graduate. If we had 10 last year, we've got 7.5 or whatever that is. Okay. And yet somehow they are less suspended, which is what this says, right? Well, that's a good thing, because I won't fuss about that. And there was another page, which at this minute seems to have escaped me in my pile. But, no, it doesn't. Here it is. For chronic absenteeism, we had 12.7% less absent kids
Yes.
than the previous year.
And these are to be considered as chronic absentees, they have to miss at least
10 days a month or whatever.
18 days in a year.
That's even worse. Okay. Oh, okay, which is
So
like
18 or
10%
more days a
school.
year.
Okay.
So we want this to decrease.
Yeah, and the way we're differentiating between English learners and Hispanic kids in our district, I know how they do it in all the others, but since our percentages are so much greater of kids who are second language learners in English because their first language was Spanish, the idea of being an English learner, what's the percentage different than just being Spanish speaker, do you know? I mean, I know we have some kids from the Middle East and a couple of others from a couple of, like, Cambodia and things like that, but
The majority are
Spanish speakers, right? So there isn't a whole lot of difference necessarily between English learners and Hispanic students on this list for our district. I know we know a lot.
My daughter is Hispanic, but
She's
she's not an
English
English learner.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And I have 2 of them in the district.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious about our program that's currently happening with English language learners is apparently having an improvement over what we had in the past because our kids are, those students are being able to come to school, they come to school more often and things like that. And that's a real plus. I had asked you last year, Are you noticing an improvement between the past program and the new program? Because at the beginning of last year, I heard a whole lot about how difficult it was for teachers to need to
It
take
was.
on English language development,
It
and
was difficult.
I agree that that's very, very difficult. I mean, for my way of thinking, there are particular techniques we all need to use, and then it covers everyone, but not everyone uses those techniques. So now it seems that the in-services, et cetera, that have gone on, the program is, not to be ill-mannered, but paying off, basically, in this way, according to this. Well, that's good news. Thanks. I just had to make sure I understood I wasn't going backward, which happens regularly. Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to commend Aurora for all her hard work. I think this growth comes about because of Aurora and because we have somebody in the position that Aurora is filling that we didn't have before. And so a lot of these things were not improving because we didn't have a staff member that focused on them. And anyway, I just want to commend Aurora for all her hard work.
I think that, thank you, but teachers are the ones on the front line, you guys are the ones doing the work every day.
I agree with
Yeah.
that, but you have helped them focus on some of these
Thank you.
issues. And anyway, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so normally now we would start with CSEA comments, however, it got rearranged, and so we're gonna take a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back, starting with number 8 on the agenda.
Did you say 15 or 5?
5.
Five.
Question.
Oh, 5 minutes, I was reading the parentheses, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to do one public comment and let him go to practice. Would that be, I don't know.
Maybe
It's
after
fine.
that break.
Okay, it's fine. But you please say it. It's fine.
5 minutes, yeah.
If you want to do public comment right now, we can do it. You can
Okay,
take a 5 minute break.
That's
Or
fine.
we'll do all public comment right
No,
now.
oh, you have to do all of them?
Oh.
Then
It's on
that
the-
could-
You have to check, we can't change the agenda, mid-agenda.
Yeah.
We can move all public comment for right now.
I don't wanna take up longer time. Is there a lot of public comments in the room?
Well, can't ask that, I mean, where's the limit?
I can, right? Is there a lot of public comments that are gonna take a long time?
Why don't we go ahead and do that?
Okay.
Take a
Public
break.
comment, take,
So
no,
we'll-
take the,
so
do the
we're gonna
public
move-
comments,
So we'll just do public comments right now.
yes.
Well, it's 14 minutes.
Do you want to talk first? This is, all right, that's fine, unless Ethan wants to. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm Amy Grooms, and I'm a parent, and, I'm just coming today to let you know of a concern. And, I have a son, Jacob Grooms, and he's a senior, and currently enrolled in calculus. He has been doing calculus, he's an AP calculus, and was notified around November, end of November, before break, that, by the way, calculus will now be moved to 0 period for the 3rd trimester. And currently, it is during the school day. So it's now going to be moved to 7 a.m. And I just wanted the board aware of what's happening, and I understand that the schedule is really difficult at the high school. Governor Newsom has signed a bill, and there's been a lot of research around starting school later. And so there's a bill, SB 328, that says schools should, for high school students, should start at 8:30. And they, the schools, rural schools are exempt due to transportation issues. That is all the reason why they're exempt. And so because we're exempt, we don't have to follow the rule. And now, 0 period is calculus, AP calculus. Calculus is not offered during the school day at all, 3rd period, or third trimester. So the students are now required to take the course at 7 a.m. and there's no other option. When 0 period has always been optional to add to your GPA, if you want to take an extra course that you can't fit in your schedule, then you would do a 0 period. And now this is not an option, this is forced because our schedules cannot be figured out and there's no other way to do it. And I would like to encourage some creative thinking. And I'm sorry I didn't go to you before.
and I apologize for that, and I should have met with you, but this was here now, and I don't have a lot of time. I mean, we have till March, but we've got to figure it out sooner than that. And I've talked to all of the other people before, the counselors, the teacher, the principal, and the principal spoke to the superintendent. So from what I'm hearing is there's no other option. Sorry, get your child up, get them there by 7 to do calculus. And our brains are gonna be wide awake at 7. So I just encourage you to read just a couple articles on the new law, and if you want to pass that down. And I did say one for Aurora too. I just encourage you to read. One of those is cut off. The first one is cut off. That it's the EdSource one, but the article that's the last one that's from the New York Times is probably the best one. It's the last page, and in there it just says that chronic sleep, it's like the 4th paragraph down, chronic sleep deprivation among teenagers has been linked to worse academic performance and mental and physical health problems later on. And then there's other things that relate to that, drowsy driving and all those other things that relate to what happens when we don't get enough sleep. I know what happens to myself when I don't get enough sleep. So I just think that we should be aware that just because we're exempt, because our transportation is an issue, and I get that, it doesn't mean that we're exempt from ignoring the needs of students. And so we really need to think about zero period should be an option and never forced. So that's it.
Hello, I'm Jacob Grooms. I'm currently enrolled in that calculus class, and that hasn't been the only schedule problem since the school year started. I was, first trimester, I was informed that I needed to take English 200 in order to get my English credits because I've been ahead since the start of high school. So I needed these 10 credits in order to graduate. Well, the plan was that I was supposed to take it. Well, first trimester, I was wondering why I wasn't in it. I was in calculus, but that was my only, I guess, academic course. But come to find out, my friends were actually enrolled in English 200, and that was the only course the whole school year. Now, I wasn't put into it because I was in calculus, 4th period, and I wasn't told anything. If I weren't to have gone up to my counselor and asked about that, I would have been stuck with 9th grade English in order to get my credits. And then I had to sign up to go through Mendocino College and take it online to find out that there was only an in-person course left, and they had to make a new course in order to take it online. So it's been like a huge deal, and then on top of this, we have the zero period, which is big. I want to go into electrical engineering, so calculus is a big deal for that. So I try really hard, and I think waking up at 7 a.m. just because of the schedule is not really justifiable, especially when I plan on taking sports too. When I want to play baseball in the spring, have to go to an away game, come back at like 11:30 at night just to get up 6 hours later to go do math in the morning. That's just not going to work for me. And we're already moving behind, so usually 3rd trimester is just for catching up and preparing for the AP test. But we're behind in the calculus right now with only 5 students because of illnesses. My teacher can't teach a lesson when there's only 2 kids. So we're going to be making up courses during that time too, so I'm not just going there just to study what I've already learned, I'm also going to be learning new stuff too. So that's another factor that plays in. But that's just pretty much what I've had to say about it.
Public comment?
I can or can't?
You cannot.
I cannot?
Turn to the president.
President, do you think that our public speaker might know if there are any classes at the college that make that available to them?
I don't know what he's thinking, but my understanding is we cannot make.
You can ask the public later, and I'll be able to answer that.
You can direct your comments to me, and I would be happy to ask the student.
Oh, I thought you just told me to direct
No,
myself to the
you can
president.
ask, you can direct me to engage in a conversation with the speaker and also the parents.
Okay, superintendent, do you think you might find out whether or not the college is offering classes?
I would be happy to find
Particularly
out, have that discussion with the student and parents.
Okay.
I think she wanted you to ask
No,
now,
she
but you
didn't know,
can't.
we
Okay.
can't, we're not allowed to respond
Okay,
to public
sounds
comment.
good.
Or
He'll
public
get
comment.
a hold of you, right?
That makes sense, I will follow
Yes,
up.
thank you.
Madam
Yeah.
President.
I'm Ethan Winter. I'm another student in that calculus class with Jake. And I'd just like to talk about a little bit about that same scheduling problem. So I signed up for calculus because I'm a little bit ahead in my math classes. I've already taken geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, and then the next step is calculus, right? And in order to get all my math credits done for high school, I need to take another class. So I have signed up for calculus. And so when I went into calculus in the first trimester, I was not told about any scheduling issues or any problems that calculus would cause me in the future with my schedule. And then come to find out after 6 weeks has passed, which is the deadline, I think, when you can drop a class, that third term it's going to be a 0 period, and second trimester there is another AP class I'm taking, which is AP AP macroeconomics, and they were going to be at the same time, during the same class period, and I would have to choose one over the other. I wasn't told about this or shown this. They just took AP macroeconomics out of the second trimester and kept me in the same AP government and AP macroeconomics first and third term. Yeah, and I've already put in AP calculus on my college applications. Like Jake, I'm also applying for engineering, but mechanical engineering, so calculus is a big deal to try and get into these courses, right? And so now if I drop this class third term, this is going to make a big impact because I have to tell the colleges that I changed my schedule about whether or not I get into these schools. And so it's going to be hard to do a 0 period because, like him, I'm also a student athlete and I have a part-time job in the spring coaching soccer locally. And it's just going to be really hard. I mean, I play golf in the spring. We have practice almost every day, tournaments on Tuesdays, and they typically last all day. We leave early in the morning and we get back at maybe 5, 6, and then I go work, try and do all my homework when I can. Sometimes, like last year, I was up until 10 or 11 o'clock trying to finish up all my schoolwork, and then going to school at 7 would really limit my sleep and probably productivity. Yeah, and AP calculus is also the only core class being offered as a 0 period, and the only one that is the only option to take. And so it kind of feels like we are being punished for pushing forward and trying to excel in our math. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, well, I'll be brief. My name is Carrie Winter, and I'm Ethan Winter's mom. I'm a parent of 3, and also a Willits High alum. I hate to say, 29 years ago when I graduated, all of these classes were an option. And that was the advantage of coming to Willits, was that we could be a 3-sport athlete, we could participate in leadership, and we could have numerous advanced classes that would help us propel into our future. So one of my goals as a parent is to make sure my kids are ready for the next thing. This decision that was made without choice has really made it difficult for me as a parent who have 2 younger kids to think about continuing with this district. If we cannot meet the needs of our kids, and we're making decisions based on what is easiest for the schedule, rather than what is based on the needs of our students, what is best for our students, then that's a problem. So I would encourage us to really rethink the way that we're managing our schedule and the way that we're treating our top achievers in the school. Thank you.
So Mark, can I ask you a question?
No,
So I was wondering if this situation is exacerbated by the fact that we are now on a trimester system rather than a semester system, and maybe that should be looked at.
Okay.
I can comment on that too, Jeannie. Sorry, my experience with the trimester system is that it has limited classes and not expanded their opportunities as it was originally advertised, that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna continue now with public comment. Are there any other people that would like to make a public comment about this or any other subject?
Are there any questions the board would like me to ask these based on public comments seen?
I don't,
That's one from
I
trustee
don't have
Nunez and
any.
trustee King. Thank you.
Okay, then if no other public comments are available or desired, then we have a break now. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you allowing that. Thank you.
Of course.
That's the crust that's.
We are back in order. Next, we have the comments from CSEA.
Moving this on.
In there. Here, I'll let you do it, because otherwise I will break it. That's my gift.
Exercise for the night. Lifting for the night. That's all, Sebastian.
Good evening and Happy New Year. At our last meeting in December, our union elected our new board members. So I'd like to announce them and give a huge congratulations to our lovely new board. So for president, we have Kevin Kavasnica. I'm very much hoping I pronounced his name correctly. For vice president, we have Tom Harvey. Secretary is Christina Lawrence. Our treasurer position is still open, so if anybody knows anybody who's interested and is part of our union, please, that would be lovely. And I will continue on as communications officer. So I'm so happy that we're going to be working together. This last Tuesday, we met with our prior e-board members and our new members to have kind of a rollover meeting. And I was so impressed with how excited and enthusiastic everybody was to move forward. We have some goals that we're going to be looking at as we get into this. Everybody on the e-board is brand new to serving as a member to an e-board, so we have a lot to learn. But we are very dedicated and excited. So some of the things that we are looking at for goals are moving forward with professionalism and unity, that we are encouraging and supporting each other, and that we are taking pride in all that we do to help the process of our students' education, because that's very important to us. And since we are moving forward, at this time, I would like to take a moment to thank most sincerely our prior CSEA e-board members. That would be Maddie and Tiffany and Jenny, and we have, oh, there she is. She's hiding over there. Jenny here with us, who served as a secretary for our union for many years. And in addition to being a secretary, she's also been our treasurer, so she's been wearing many hats for a long time. And she is fantastic and wonderful, and everything she does is with kindness and courtesy and respect, so we really appreciate all that you've done, Jenny. So that is where we are. We have our first official official meeting coming up later this month. We postponed it a little bit so we could have that rollover meeting. And I look forward to reporting more happenings and goings-ons next time. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have WTA.
All right. I have to write everything down. Okay, so district-wide, next week, we're all gonna be busy doing our assessments for the second trimester progress monitoring, and midterm exams and projects are due. I wanna say thank you to everyone that helped get the Willits High School gym floor resurfaced. It was really yucky for quite a while, so it's a lot better and it looks nice and shiny now, and everybody that helped schedule us some gyms to practice in, I know it was just crazy, so thank you so much. And, you know, WTA, we can't do our job without CSEA, and so I wanted to give two big shout outs. One is to Rachel Cash. She took over as the librarian for Brookside and Gloucester this year, and she's absolutely awesome. And she's organized and friendly, and the library is inviting. The kids can't wait every week to go. We get to go as a whole class again, and they love that. We only have her 2 days a week at Gloucester, but you know, the nice part is if they finish their book while she's still there, they get to go exchange it. So the only thing that would be even better is if we had a full-time one, but because our kids do love to read, and they love her, and they love her library. So I just want to shout out to her. And then our bus drivers. They have done a great job getting us to our various destinations safely, whether it's a trip to the Exploratorium in San Francisco or to a sporting event in the heavy rain. They keep us safe, and we appreciate them. So I've been on the bus a lot this school year. So I really, really appreciate them. Okay, so Brookside. Brookside second graders performed Christmas songs on the stage for the annual winter show in December. Brookside has been busy reviewing their rules and procedures with their students as they return from winter break. They are looking at data from their whole school and foundational reading skills, specifically phonemic awareness, in relation to their SMART goal. They are seeing great growth across campus in phonemic awareness and continue to use the PLT process as their guide to improve their Tier 1 instruction. They're also gearing up for their next round of BLAST intervention groups and using the data they collected to drill down to the specific needs of their students and use that data to drive their instruction during their Tier 2 intervention. At Gloucester, we're so excited to welcome back Ellie Miller. She's teaching 3rd grade with us, and Mr. Frankel is starting up music and art lessons at our site for grades 3 through 5. Also this trimester, our school counselor, Abby Stevens, has been doing an incredible job supporting our students through peer groups, where students connect with one another while learning yoga, crochet, art, playing cooperative games, and designing ideas for school spirit. The groups have been extremely popular and are helping to create positive connections between students and infuse energy into our school community. The CAPS team at Gloucester is driving the mission and focus of the PLT meetings. PLTs are working on learning ladder planning for essential standards. Jill Dorman came on Tuesday to give an online library presentation. One of the great online tools available is the Encyclopedia Britannica. Gloucester has started using a new online intervention tool called Freckle that is connected to our Renaissance platform, and it uses our STAR testing data to help meet the students at the standards they're struggling with. Our newish book room is coming along. We received a donation of a lot of AR books, and I've spent a couple of days organizing them, checking them in, and adding to our inventory. Our high 2nd grade to 5th grade library for guided reading groups has really increased. We also received more class sets of core novels, and we currently have a ton of wonderful historical fiction books to read as a class in 4th and 5th grades that kind of meet our curriculum. We can still use a few more K1 AR books whenever there's money. But we are currently out of space on the new shelving, so we need a couple shelves too. But come check it out when you're on campus. Go in there, take a look. It's really nice. And Gloucester recently sent 7 educators to the UDL training in MCOE. 3 gen ed, 1 resource, art counselor, reading specialist, and curriculum coach. And the MTSS team is doing great. They are all about halfway done. And some are almost finished with the foundations of MTSS, and a few have started on their pathways. BGMS is doing great. The leadership class had a fun and engaging winter rally. Students had a great time participating in activities and showing school spirit. Students who achieved honor roll and principals list were given their certificates at a school-wide assembly. The web leaders had a very successful canned food drive. All 600 plus items were given to the Willits Food Bank. Attendance competitions are occurring, and classes with the best attendance are receiving rewards for being on time and ready to learn. Sports are in full swing, and lots of kids are participating. Boys and girls basketball both have A, B, and C teams, so an 8th, 7th, and 6th grade team. And if you can only imagine trying to have 6 basketball teams share a gym, it's crazy. And that is short amount of time. Wrestling season is also starting off, and the BGMS librarian took a group of students ice skating as a reward for meeting the trimester 1 reading goal. Thank you to the BGMS PTO for their support, and the PTO is also ordering BGMS spirit gear. Professional learning communities at BGMS are looking at data in weekly meetings and using the information they receive from assessments to inform their teaching practice. Our teachers are working together to learn from one another and help their students achieve more. I have 2 little things from Willits High School because I started to write one, and then I got it from Mr. Fardig, who is actually the representative. So I'm sharing about basketball. Is in the middle of league play. The basketball posters to honor our seniors were hung this week. So when you come in, you're going to see these awesome, amazing pictures taken by Jordan Eads of our 8 seniors, 4 boys, 4 girls up there. And if you go into any other high school gym, that is the thing these days. Like, you know who the seniors are. So it's kind of cool. This Friday, the girls are at home against Lower Lake. Please, please, please come support them. The JV girls are at 6. We're at 7:30. Our JV girls are currently undefeated in league, and they're playing Lower Lake, who is also undefeated. So it's going to be a really good game. And the varsity beat Lower Lake in a tournament last month. So I think it's going to be 2 really exciting games, and we're really well matched, I believe. So wrestling is 2-0 in league, and this is kind of cool. 1 player is ranked number 9 in the North Coast sections, and that's Jacob Livingston. And 4 other athletes are currently honorable mention in NCS, which means they are ranked in the top 20. Eli Bowles, Donald Glenn, Ricky Ramirez, and Corey Rocky. And the wrestling hosts a home meet next Wednesday at 4:30. Kind of a maintenance issue. The high school gutters are in need of maintenance or repair all over campus. They're in pretty bad shape. Their MTSS is having a hard time getting off the ground over there. Many of them are in the beginning stage, and they need a little more leadership support to get going on theirs. This is from Thomas. The Willits High School wrestling team had big wins over the last few weeks. They traveled to Middletown High School and beat them, as well as Clear Lake in the league opener tri-meet. The wrestling Wolverines are currently 2-0 in league and look forward to wrestling at home next Wednesday against Lower Lake and Santa Elena. A big accomplishment to the girls cross-country team, who won the Scholastic team of the North Coast section for their score, so they're going to get a banner. The Willits High School yearbook, under the dedicated support of Ms. Bakewell, has made its first deadline, and the yearbook is looking beautiful. The 2023-24 yearbook will be the 115th Mistletoe yearbook at Willits High School. Willits High School is looking for businesses that are interested in buying ads in the yearbook. Any businesses interested in supporting the yearbook program should contact Ms. Bakewell at Willits High School. And I have a flyer that has amounts and things like that if anybody's interested. English dual enrollment last trimester went well. The benefits of dual enrollment to our students is a smoother transition to college and saves them money. The science department is working to ensure that the funds to buy and replace material for hands-on labs are available so students have the availability to complete the scientific experiments as expected by the NGSS science standards. Sanhedrin, I had wonderful notes about Sanhedrin. They are so excited to have a counselor again. They have Tony Cassidy has rejoined the Sanhedrin team. She has jumped right in, helping students with graduation planning with the current seniors and with the adult school program. There are over 20 adults in the adult program. Sanhedrin has applied for exemplary dual enrollment status with the state last month. And as of her knowledge, it was still pending. I don't know if that's been cleared yet. January 18th, they will be hosting a Career Point Mendocino workshop to help students apply for internships and vocational job opportunities. Enrollment in work experience courses begins January 22nd. Culinary arts classes will be beginning January 24th. Sanhedrin is the second school with Willits Unified to be recognized as a Blue Zone school. There are scholarships available to assist students in getting their caps and gowns. Their MTSS update, one of their educators is halfway done, and the rest of the team is still working on foundations of MTSS. And then my last one is Sherwood. And they are so excited to report that they received a lot of books to start their new book room. They're also excited to welcome Tony Cassidy as the new counselor at Sherwood. They took a field trip to the ice rink in Ukiah before break. They hosted a fun event the last day of school before break that included families. They had a concert and afterwards made gingerbread cookies. They are starting to get ready for the science fair, and they are planning collaborative intervention to target phonics and early reading skills for their K-3 students. So that's it for demonstration.
Okay, next we have the superintendent's comments.
Thanks. First I want to recognize, I want to give a shout out to our charter school partners that are here and their board members, so welcome. I know this is your once a year time, you guys get to all come and tell us what you're doing and get your stuff approved, so I just wanted to welcome you, say thank you for being here. It's great to be back after a much needed kind of winter break. We talked every time about all, the first week back after any break, whether it be Thanksgiving, winter, spring. It just takes a few days to kind of get your feet back underneath you and get everybody back to going from point A to point B without drifting off to points B, C, and D. Been on school sites all week long. Our staff is just always tremendous on doing what they do, whether it be educating, fixing, feeding, cleaning, transporting. It's a marvel to watch the show unfold daily. Matter of fact, I was in lunchroom today at Brookside for a little bit, the first graders, and a very nice young lady was doing something, what's this, signals?
Quiet coding.
Thank you, quiet coding. They said signals, I don't know what these signals, whatever this is. Anyway, nonetheless, she gave me a big shout out, and then I had 30 first graders want to come over and give me a hug, which is kind of cool. It's made my head real big, and I left there walking on air. Okay? And a little awkward. It's all good, because I'm not necessarily one of those like really huggy people. So, but that's okay. But we are finding our way, and we're getting back up to speed, and it's, like I said, it just takes a little bit of time, usually about a week, maybe two. To echo what Coach was saying, we've had our winter sports teams competing not only right now, but also over winter break. I'm glad that the floor in the gym looked the way it does, both not only at the high school, but also at Becker Grove. We did both floors at the same time over winter break, so both of those giving our athletes an opportunity to be as successful as possible, and they're competing at a high level. So I watched some games at other sites as well, and so coaches are coaching, players are playing, and that's always a good thing. We have begun a pretty significant remodel at Brookside. Not necessarily multiple classrooms, but we certainly opened up the ball in one of the rooms on the west side. And we're going to find out what we're into over there and see if we can get 4 or 5 classrooms up to speed and ready to go for the following year. As well as closer than we were, how's that? Okay? And while, speaking of heat, I'm not a big fan of the cold, as anybody who will listen to me. But you know, as I was talking about our staff, I want to really thank, like today was especially one of those days. I mean, it takes a village to get us warm and get us here safely, and people showing up and feeding us, and office staff having phone calls, and you know, just people are being. I don't care if they're late today, because it was a bit of a dangerous day. You know, be late. Don't be in a hurry, because I need you safe, and I'd rather have you safe than on time on a day like today. So, just thank you to all of our people out there that are doing that on a daily basis. I also want to recognize our board. Okay, I work obviously closely with you. It's nice to be recognized in a month. I don't know why you're not recognized for the other 11 months, but apparently this is the only month you get. Okay, so we're only going to be nice to you in January. Okay, so that's how that kind of rolls. No, but nonetheless, it's nice to be recognized. School boards are interesting places to be on these days. If anybody ever watches anything with social media, some of them can be a very interesting event. And you're not getting paid, and so it's a labor of love. And anybody who does anything on a volunteer basis, anybody who steps up, certainly deserves and commands my highest form of respect. So thank you to all of you. There's some gifts here from MCOE. It was nice for Nicole to come. I have some stuff for you, as well as Brookside brought you bags. So you got swag going on. Okay, so that's always nice. And although I very much like to always recognize my staff. I think it's important that we've got to remember, after I've been here for 18 months, these meetings and all this stuff that you have in front of you and all this orchestration, it doesn't go on without Rochelle. So I want to give a big shout out to Rochelle, okay? I mean, she just does a really good job of getting this all done. And you know, there's about 90 million moving pieces and parts, and when one thing goes wrong, you know, people have a tendency to be a little upset, but I just wanted to give you a shout out. So thanks for making this all work. Because the better this is, the better you make me look, and then that's good. And so, so thank you. I appreciate it. Other than that, I'm all good. So I'm happy that our teachers and staff are here, and our site leaders are here, and so thank you. Okay, follow that.
Next,
I'm not paying attention to me. I've lost my touch.
next we have our student board representative with comments.
Hello everyone, today I will give a small update of the events we have going on at Willits High School. As we've already discussed, winter sports are underway. We have wrestling, boys basketball, girls basketball. We have a winter spirit week coming up, a week after next week. The theme is settings. Monday will be ocean, so beach day / Hawaiian. Tuesday is space, outer space colors, freshmen black, sophomores blue, juniors white, and seniors red. Wednesday is western, so cowboys / cowgirls. Thursday is jungle, so camo. Friday is green and gold. And we will end the week with a rally full of fun activities. And FFA also has a trip coming up. They will be going to Sonoma County, and senior portraits will be held next week. So that's all I have for today, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Sukmi, before we begin board comments, can I allow our student to go home?
Absolutely. And thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Good job with the placement. That's going to be a huge job. Don't be not showing up.
I'll take your next one.
All right.
Okay, next we have board comments. Mrs. King?
Certainly. Hi, everybody. I hope that everyone had a wonderful 2 weeks off and that you were able to spend some quality time with your families and maybe get a little travel in and not get sick, because I know there's been a lot of sickness going around. So before we took the 2 weeks off, I was able to attend the Hot Winter's Night at Willits High School. I am so impressed with Mr. Check. He's just such a gift to the district. He's able to split his time between 2 different school sites, working with kids that many who have never had exposure to an instrument, and his heart is really into what he's doing. He's a wonderful gift. also attended the holiday show at Blossom, which is mainly fifth grade classes, but Mrs. Brooms had two activities in the holiday show. One was a song that she and her daughter created based on the 12 Days of Christmas. Anyway, it was a great holiday show. And I've been enjoying attending the JV games, basketball games at the high school, because my grandson's on the JV team. And I also got a tremendous amount of pleasure out of serving the holiday meals at Brookside, Blosser, Betsy Grove, and the high school. I really appreciate the invitation to do that, and it was not only informative to me to see the kids and to see how my kids go through and how it's organized and that kind of thing, but to see what the holiday staffs do. Anyway, it was a good experience for me. And the 2 weeks that I had off, I got sick over Christmas. So, but my husband and I were able to still do our 4 days over on the coast at the end of the old year and the beginning of the new year. And during one of those nights, I had a dream. I had a school board dream. I used to have special ed dreams. Now I have school board dreams. Anyway, I had a school board dream, and during this dream, I can't remember anything about the dream except that the same sentence, the same phrase went throughout this whole dream over and over and over and over again, the same phrase. And it just wove itself in and out of that dream. And at some point I realized that this phrase was very important and that I had to write it down. And so I forced myself to wake up somehow. I got my phone and I opened my notes app and I wrote down the phrase. So you're going to be hearing this phrase a lot from me because I feel it was given to me. So the phrase is, it's a question. In what way does the expenditure of these funds benefit the children under our care? So I'm going to be thinking about that a lot, particularly in the budget mess that the state of California is in. But I also might change it up a little bit and say in what way does this agenda item benefit the children under our care? From what I understand from all the classes I've taken through the California School Board Association, that the more items on an agenda that have to do with children, the better the school district is. Anyway, I'm going to bring up this phrase a lot. In what way does the expenditure of these funds benefit the children under our care? And I've been following the state budget mess fairly intently, and I intend to continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Ms. Munoz?
Well, I really appreciated being kept in the loop with what was going on at Blosser Lane. And on behalf of everyone, I'm certain, I really do believe it was just a mistake and it's being rectified. I'm certain there are a lot of things you have to consider when you decide to make decisions, and so none of them are perfect, or we'd have all known them all from the beginning and been doing them for a zillion years. So good luck. I had the opportunity to see pictures and hear an awful lot of information, and I even get to go there tomorrow if nothing else interferes, and just some stuff you learn to deal with, anyway, for temporarily, of course, but nonetheless. I also attended a number of activities during the last days before the winter break, and I felt pretty much like Jeannie about the ones I did attend. They were just really impressive. It was a real big deal that people have enough time to put out so much effort and energy into things that last 20 or 30 minutes, and then everybody goes, well, that was really cool, and then they go off and do whatever they do, and you don't hear about it again, I do like your song, Amy. It was hilarious. And I just was real impressed that you would put that all together. Okay. I also wanted to say that I'm really glad that some of our interviews are finished that were happening in the district for various things. And I truly believe that the changes that are coming are definitely gonna be really positive as opposed to an issue, even though everyone says, well, the only constant about change is that it's constantly changing and you can't get away with it, it will always be there. That's generally really true, but some changes just enough to fix the issue that was driving you nuts from before. And that's my sincerest hope for the changes that are coming. And then lastly, I have to say I was really behind when I learned that Dr. Gabrielson had passed. Some of you may remember him. And I'm sorry that the people I contacted did not get back to me so I could give you a story. There aren't too many of us around that were here when he was the superintendent or even the psych teacher
A
at.
special ed director.
He was
We did both.
after, exactly, and he was also the superintendent while he was a special ed director. He made a number of sacrifices strictly for the benefit of our district, and he was just really exemplary in all sorts of ways, including making sure that everyone realized that what they do is as important as what everyone else does. And he worked really hard at making it all even, so to speak. He was the first superintendent that we decided we needed an assistant, but he only decided he needed a one-day assistant, and that was because there was so much building and things like that going on throughout the district that he couldn't get to IEPs and all the building meetings and all the other stuff he needed to take care of. He brought about a special ed program to our district that was exemplary throughout the state. We were a model special ed program, and we had visitors from all over the state and outside of California, but the ones in California came around a lot so that they could apply for work here, and it was a big deal. I know that now you look and go, shit, I can't even get one of those people. He could get anyone he wanted. It was a big deal. Naturally, we all know me. No one was perfect, but it doesn't matter. And as soon as I get more information that may or may not help our district get him a plaque or do whatever, as one of our ex-superintendents has a bench with his name on it, we can maybe buy a house and put Rod's name on that one. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
Thank you. And next we have Ms. McNeil.
Okay, a few updates at Bechtel Grove Middle School. The gates and a new fence has been installed along the west side of the campus. This has been a huge help already in keeping the dogs off campus during the school day, as well as it's nice to get one more fence to put up. The new tile floors came into rooms number 5, 6, 7, and 8. This has a brightening up the room, and the overall look is cleaner. Staff has been receiving training on the light speed software monitoring, which allows them for more efficient and better use of technology in the classroom. This training was provided by our IT team department, and Bechtel Grove is also dedicated to a full implementation of the Catapult EMS software that will be going on next week to be a better preparing in the event of any emergency situation that ever comes or arise. Major discipline incidents continue to be down over from last year. I also enjoy going to Brookside and all our schools doing the Christmas lunch, and hot winter nights was amazing. It was hard to find a place to sit. I mean, it was full. it was amazing. And also seeing your, construction team or with their Christmas trees and everything was amazing. It made the place so nice. It was just everywhere. Thank you.
And now my turn. So Christmas was very special this year in that I have my son living with me temporarily. And I grew up in New York City and lived in apartment buildings all my life. So we never had outdoor lights that you put on. We'd decorate the inside. And he went to Home Depot and got Christmas lights for our house and put them up for me, so I've had them. Made me feel very special. What I've been working on for the past month or so is some of the stuff legally that's changing, and in particular, more recently, ethics studies are going to be required for kids that graduate from high school between, I think it's 2026.
Graduating class of 2030.
Graduating class of 2026. And it's a new thing for our schools.
2030.
Oh, 2030?
Class of 2030.
Okay, thank you for the correction. But it's something that we need to get, that we are working on now, starting to work on now, and there's a number of different paths we can take in terms of the curriculum that we use. The one that I looked at, and I'll be working with the other people on this, the state has put out this thick book, and they have, I thought it was 400, but I've been corrected, it's 700 lesson plans that are in there that people can use, that teachers can use. And it follows all of the requirements that the laws have put in place. So I got my master's in ethnomusicology, so this is a part of something I'm passionate about and looking forward to it. I also got to help give out lunches, and I'm proud to say that at one of the schools where we almost ran out of ham, we had one serving left when the kids were done. And it was fun working with the other team members from the board on doing this. If I ever have a time when I'm feeling depressed and out of sorts, I can go help serve lunches, and that'll get me right out of it. So that's about it for me. And now I gotta look at what's next. Okay, we have the consent agenda. So, give me half a second. I would like to know if I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I don't know what that is. I will make a motion that it is approved as presented.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. That passed. Okay, and now we get on to the action items. Okay, the first one is the approval of Willits Elementary Charter School's annual report.
All right.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Charlene Bretter. I'm the director of Willits Elementary Charter. I'm in my 5th year here. I'm very excited to be here, and I would like to thank the board and Mark for all of your support continued throughout the years. I just want to highlight a few fun things that we've been working on last year and continue into this year. As Willits is also working on creating a welcoming environment to our school and ensuring that students feel supported and that they're problem solvers. And we have a students leading education group in 4th and 5th grade. So they work in small groups together to improve either the school community or the bigger community at large. Some of the things that they've done is plan field trips, or this year they're raising money to help the Humane Society by selling calendars. They've done a food drive. They've helped with a jacket and a toy drive for the holidays. They've organized a student dance for next week for their first school dances, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade by themselves without their parents. So it's really exciting to see what leadership initiatives the young students come up with. We are also very excited about our reading program. We've implemented a reading recovery program essentially. We test every single student and see whether they are at grade level. If they are not, then they have a small group with a reading specialist at least twice a week. Our grades, our kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade are using a curriculum called UFly, which is specific phonics instruction that has really improved our reading scores, so we're really excited about that. We use this same program with struggling readers in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade as well. We've gotten a new math curriculum, which we hope will help with our being more engaged for students for math. We are also, we had our own art show that again was a student-led project at the end of the year. And just briefly touching on our standardized tests as a charter school, we have to not only do the state tests, but we have to have other data that shows that students are making progress. And for that, we use our MAP testing. And so students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade take that test at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the year. So it does show that students are improving in their scores and learning through the year and demonstrating growth. And our state testing, 55% of overall students, that's in grade 3, 4, and 5, have met or exceeded the English language standards, and 42% have done the same in math. And in science, we had 60% of our students meet or exceed state standards. So we're really proud of that. Some things that we're working on this year, and also as well as last year, our chronic absenteeism rate is 33%, which is very high. The state is compared to 24% in the state. Being a small school, we know all of the families, and I can assure you that it's probably only 5 kids who are actually chronically absent, and the rest of them really were sick. Our staff suffered a lot of illnesses last year, and if we had to track our own attendance, I'm sure we would have had many chronically absent staff. I mean, we were really, our school was hit hard and continues to be hit hard by illnesses. So we take chronic absenteeism seriously, but also we encourage people to be human beings, and if you're sick, you should stay home. So we're still working within that framework. And then the last thing is with our math, we were 21 points below state standard, although we have increased in our performance, so we're focusing also on math and have a new curriculum, which is called Big Ideas. It's from National Geographic, and it's also the same curriculum that Willits Charter School uses, so there's a nice continuum between the two schools. Does anyone have any questions?
I just had a comment, as I'm always really impressed with the elementary charter school, and the fact that you keep your staff consistently year to year to year says a lot about the quality of your program. And anyway, I really appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much.
House looks good. You found the color.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the Willits Charters. You have to approve it.
You have to approve this.
Thank you, that was my question. So, we're asking for the approval of the Willits Elementary Charter Schools annual report.
I move that we approve the Willits Charter Schools annual report.
Thank you. Second? Thank you very much.
For approval, President Supney, now you would ask for, is there any discussion on
Okay,
on
thank
action
you.
items? You add that component to it right after the second motion.
Is there any discussion?
I would just like to know, what's your total student count right now?
Right now, it's 148.
And your K or TK through 5th?
We do not have a TK program. We have partnered with Willits Unified for the TK program. We have now kindergarten through 5th grade. There's 22 students in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and 24 students. This year is our first year to expand that in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And we have an independent study program from kindergarten to 5th grade with 11 students.
So you have 3 teachers at your school?
I have 10 teachers at my school.
Oh, each one has their own class?
Yes.
You mean 24 per class?
Yes.
Okay, my math wasn't coming up. Lost that. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Oh, excuse me, but, and with your TKs, so then the law will allow you to slip it into the district and then you don't need to have classes in a couple of years for TK?
We have an MOU with the district to have any TK students would go to the district schools.
Oh, okay, and that covers.
Just in it is, not every district has to do TK.
Yeah.
You're not required to.
Oh, okay.
You just get back to one.
Right.
Oh, well, okay, then, all right.
Yes, we have been.
I knew there was a district change. Oh, okay, so then you just sort of sent your money on over is how that works out.
I wish that I could send it directly to you.
They don't get it.
Oh, they just don't even see it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They did not get it.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, I appreciate the
No worries.
clarification.
Thank you. Okay, so now we do the vote. All those in favor of, we have a second.
Now you're asking for a vote. Just ask for a vote.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the Willits Elementary Charter Schools annual report?
Aye.
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 Okay, it is completely supported. Next we have the approval of the Willits Charter Schools annual report.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Erin Vocaro, and I'm the Education Director at Willits Charter School. And I thought that I would just summarize some of the highlights from last year, and then more data and details about the items are located in the annual report itself. Last year was our 24th year of operation, and it was a very exciting year. It was a year of a lot of transition at Willits Charter School. It represents the second year back right after the COVID-19 pandemic. And some of the programs that we traditionally do were still on hold last year, such as our community service requirement. The very beginning of the school year, it still seemed a little tenuous, and we were unsure if we wanted to send students out into the public to volunteer their time. But I'm happy to report that that's up and running again this year. We were also able to return some of our field trips and other types of community events. So we hosted our harvest luncheon last year for the first time since before the pandemic, and we were able to resume our college field trips. So we like to take our students, our high school students, to at least one representative community college, CSU, and UC campus each year. We also began some new traditions with the opening of our new sports and theater arts complex. So it was a very exciting time for us. We fielded several teams that we were unable to ever have in the past. So last year, for the first time, we had a girls volleyball team for middle school. We had girls and boys middle school basketball. We also had a middle school girls softball team. And for the first time, we had a varsity track team. Our team was size of 1, but it was amazing. We joined the CIF, and we look forward to continuing to grow our athletics program. Last year, we also focused a lot on expanding our CTE offerings. We were a recipient of the K-12 Strong Workforce Grant. So we finalized and were able to offer pathways in the arts, media, and entertainment sectors, hospitality, transportation and recreation, and then marketing, sales, and services. So it was very exciting for us to offer those things, and we continue to expand our dual enrollment offerings as well. We offered for the first time on our campus pastries and desserts, CAM 130C, and that was really well loved by our students. We also offered CED 195 and 196. Those are career and cooperative work experience classes. Our staff continue to participate in PLCs and the MTSS training that Willits Unified is also engaged in. We were able to expand our counseling services access to college and career exploration. And we also really tried to partner with different community entities to provide additional information to our students on a variety of health topics, including comprehensive sexual health education, information on human trafficking, why vaping is bad, etc. In the spring, we had really an exciting opportunity. We partnered with the Sherwood Valley Tribal Youth Program, and we put on an art camp. It was an all-day art camp for our students. Some really amazing and dynamic educators came, and where they presented to our students and our staff information on a variety of topics, and then we split our students up into different groups based on interest, and they participated in workshops on sound, color, and movement. It was very exciting, and we hope to continue that partnership. We participated in the science fair. So Willits Charter School requires all the students that take science to do a science fair project. And so we sent about 50 projects to the local fair. 11 of those went on to the county science fair, and one of our students' projects represented Mendocino County at the state science fair. We had 113 students last year. About 86 students were middle school, that's 65%. 45 students were high school students, so 45%. Our enrollment has grown slightly since last year. When this report was written, in November, December, enrollment was 126. And just a quick summary of the data. I appreciated Aurora's presentation tonight. It was interesting to hear her descriptions and information. For Willits Charter School, in the suspension rate category, we were in the green ranking. Chronic absenteeism, we were in the red ranking. That's definitely an area of focus, in our school as well. English and math, we were ranked in the orange categories. And we thought about a lot about, what does it mean to be emerging from the pandemic? How do scores look, and how are we performing since before all these transitional changes took place to where we are now? And so if you look at how we were scoring in 2019, at least according to CASP, and that's just a tiny measure, right, of a school's academic progress, we see that we're still continuing to recover from the pandemic in terms of English language arts. Our scores did decrease slightly by 13 percentage points, but we did see growth compared from before the pandemic till now. Our math scores grew by 6.59 points, and our science scores improved by 13.47 points. So we're excited for those data points, and we look forward to continuing to focus on increasing opportunities for our students. Do you have any questions that I could answer? All right, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we need to take a vote on approval of the Willits Charter School annual report. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the Willits Charter Schools annual report as presented.
Any second? Okay, thank you. And now it's on, is there any discussion? No? Okay, then let's do the vote. All those in favor? Aye. That passed, thank you. Next on here, we have approval of the La Vida Charter Schools annual report.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've never really got to meet you, and it was really a pleasure to saw you last year, and it's good to see you again. And Jeannie was actually at La Vida as a special ed teacher for a little while, and BC. And today, once again, we have Cynthia Reiser-Jevons, who's been on our board for well over a decade, moving into that 2-decade mark, and she's a major piece of the La Vida team. And so I'm just going to share a couple of the highlights of the year. The 2023 year was a good year. The most exciting thing for us was the WASC accreditation, again for another 6 years. And so in that process, the visiting team, the school a little peek at their rating, and then they take it away. So, and only the WASC board gets to see it after that, so doesn't get published. So we were thrilled with our peak, and that was that we had 75% highly effective ratings. So, and then 25% was effective. So our odd, unusual school is getting traction. And so that was so validating to be able to see that, that the visiting team felt that way too. And and then last year, parents, again, we have a happy group of parents, and we are grateful. So they in the surveys, they rated us, their overall rating was about 9.2 out of 10. Our goal is 8. And then 9.58 for staff responsiveness to their needs and a positive supportive environment. So those are kind of things that we work at. There's been a lot of shifting going on in the population, and that I find it fascinating. And one of them was they definitely want more money. So we don't give a lot of money. We give the home-only folks $285. We provide very expensive curriculum, and they have access to like outside classes, expansive classes, and things like that. But so there's this new trend. People want more money. There's schools that are giving more money, and they like that idea. That was our lowest score on our survey. And then one of the things that we are also tracking is, most of you have been down there at some point or another. It's really a beautiful environment, and we're so lucky to be there. And so what we do ask both the parents and the kids, is there anything or anywhere that might be like scary or they feel uncomfortable? And it's pretty overwhelming that everybody feels good and comfortable there. We've got a couple really high nervous kids that don't want to go outside, and they're afraid of falling down on the cement and things like that. So that's a whole other project. But as far as the school, it's a nice, positive, safe environment. And then on our so our demographics are shifting. So every year, last year was kind of, so every year on this pie chart page, it flips, the dominant flips between Willits or Ukiah, the dominant number of students. So last year we saw a big shift, like of 20% or something for Willits. So it was last year was Willits, and maybe next year Ukiah. So, and we still have very high free and reduced lunch, and we have a pretty diverse group of ethnicity-wise, and so 60% are white, which is over 20% below the county average. So that shows that there is a kind of more of a diverse population, ethnic-wise. However, that shifts. So in the past, it's been Native Americans have been one of our highest quadrants, and last year it was Hispanic. More people, the parents aren't as educated as they were in the past. So there are a lot less college graduates in graduate school, more just some college. That's the big, and so the parents then need training. And one of the things that makes Levita kind of Levita is that we work on the strengths of the students. And so some years ago, influenced by Jennifer Fox, Your Child's Strengths was her book. And her philosophy was, it is better to take a strength and move it to mastery than it is to take a weakness and build it to mediocrity. So at that time, we were just learning it all. It was when the Common Core were coming in, and the teachers all said, yeah, let's do that, let's do that. So we track the strengths, and the first and second. And what we find, well, pretty much every year, but there are interesting shifts, is that naturalist is number one. The kids really love being out in nature, which we get to serve them for, being on that 5,000-acre ranch. And bodily kinesthetic, movement, and musical rhythmic. Those are the top three. So those kids need to move. They need, this is an active crowd, hands-on, and so we try to provide that. And it's also in the curriculum. The shift that's been happening since COVID is an increase on intrapersonal. So that used to be a teensy-weensy little sliver. This year was 13%, which was, 13%, which is down 3% from the previous year. But that's a big shift. It used to be like 1 or 2%. So kids are more self-reflective than they used to be. You did a beautiful dashboard presentation. We got almost nothing on the dashboard because we're so small that it doesn't translate. What they say here on our scores is, in order to protect the privacy and data is suppressed because fewer than 11 students tested. So that's where we stand much of the time. However, the chronic absenteeism, that's kind of an issue. That was never an issue for us before. Now it's an issue. So we were up we're at 13% this year. So that was an increase. Actually, it was a decrease from last year, but still, for me, it's an increase. So the thing that I'm kind of focused on is the MAP scores. So we like the NWEA. I remember our first encounter, you said you didn't like it, and I said I liked it. And we're more interested in growth. So we're getting kids that come in at below grade level. We want to see growth. I'll take anybody, I just want them to grow. And
I didn't say I didn't like it. I don't like giving it out every 4 weeks like it's prescribed to do. It doesn't work very well in
doesn't work very well?
It doesn't work very well in a comprehensive school environment.
Yeah.
Benchmark and take a day away.
Yeah,
every 4 weeks. I don't think my staff would be very happy with taking one, actually it's 17 days a year that you would have to test.
Oh my goodness.
Because then it applies, then it moves to EDI type of prescriptive instruction. That's all.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does make sense. There's all these different kinds of environments and all these different uses.
No worries. Good for you though. That you like it.
But anyway, so you can really see in living color what our learning loss is with COVID. So we had the 80% growth in 1920 when COVID hit. That was the highest we ever had. That was in reading, and math was 65. So, and then NWEA says that 60 is excellent. 60% growth is excellent. So that's our goal, is 60% growth. And so we had exceeded our goal for a number of years, and now we are pretty much, we're just under the goal. Their kids are still, half the kids are still growing, but it's a concern. But at least we've got half still growing. We made great progress on our weekly check-ins. We had wonderful all-out engagement with our benchmark projects and our portfolios. Those are our 2 student-centered, authentic-centered assessments. I just want to share this little thing. I think that might be the last thing I share, is for special ed. So for special ed, Levita takes care of its own special ed. We don't have, so we contract with the county. We have our own special ed teacher and coordinator. We contract with Tiny Eye. It's a virtual for speech, OT, counseling, psychology. We also contract with Partners in Special Education. They do some of the psych and what do you call that? Assistive technology. Sometimes we have to do. Last year we didn't have a nurse. Now we've got a nurse, but last year we didn't have a nurse, so we used their nurse to. But anyway, so 30%. So we had, our last year and the year before, up there at 30% of our kids are special ed. or in the category. So that's starting to slightly come down, and we're very excited. Actually, it makes it less intense. But we feel like we really meet the kids that have been labeled with special needs, that they're different learners. And we have really great curriculum that pretty much meets any kid wherever they are. And so we do see growth, but it doesn't, it's not in the same vein as the rest of the population. And parents are so grateful. That's the thing, we just see tremendous. But there's this beautiful little story from our benchmark project fair, this little picture down here with the Leonardo display. So the benchmark is the kids do their best work, that's the thing, best work. And that's coming up here at the end of the month. And this guy who struggled and struggled, he's a really smart 12-year-old who can hardly read. And, so when he discovered that Leonardo da Vinci and Einstein had dyslexia too, it changed his life. He suddenly saw himself in a new light, that he was a genius. That he was just like, I'm a genius, he said. So instead of being, the dummy. So anyway, that's those are some of the highlights for La Vida 22 and 23. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to take just a moment to thank the board and the superintendent at PD and the wonderful staff at Willits Unified for all of the support that you have given us over the past time to help us and allow us to do our best to serve the students that we are given to help nurture.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the approval of La Vida Charter Schools annual report. Do you want to hear a motion?
And we approve La Vida Charter School annual report.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies.
So I just have a question. So I understand you're getting some direction from MCOE and from the state, and that's proving helpful to you, yes?
I think it's all progressing well. There are a few components I think we're waiting from the state. We're responding to any requests they have, and I think it's all moving along exactly as we would hope.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have approval of school accountability report cards.
These are called SARCs, and
Okay.
they're documents that are, every school's got kind of a report card, and it's not necessarily a pass-fail, it's more informational based. And it covers the pillars of a school, how many staff you have, how many credential staff you have, how many students you have, how many sections you have, and whatever particular level, whether it be K1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For our system, K1, 2, TK1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. We have Sherwood, and we have San Diego as well. So every school has a variety of buckets, and they're populated throughout the year. Some of the information comes from the state. A lot of times it doesn't come timely, but we have to approve this now. A lot of times information will actually come in February, March, April. It'll be continually populated. They put it on the CD website, we put it on our websites. Our site leaders are constantly filling this in as best they can with the information that they have. We sometimes have to wait until the CAS data is there. CAS, right? Or not call it, I'm sorry. CAS data is there. We sometimes have to wait till P2 for some of the data as well. So kind of it's become an organic document, to tell you the truth, year round.
Okay, so are we ready to vote?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's approve the SARC data.
Do you want to hear a motion?
Do I have to wait for the motion before I can ask questions?
Yes.
Right.
Do I hear a motion?
So I'll move that we approve the school accountability report card.
I'll Okay, second?
I second.
Okay, any questions?
Discussion, further discussion.
Okay, so then what we're saying is that the blanks and stuff we run into are just there because.
We wait for
don't have
data.
it.
We have to wait for data from the state. They get popular. It's not
Okay.
us. It's not always us. We have to wait for the data to come to our end so we can populate it. We contract like 9,000 other districts in California with a platform called Doc Tracking System. And that tracking system is connected to CDE. Once they get information, it's downloaded in the docs and we continue to populate it.
Okay, so that seems to happen a lot. I mean, it's been
Happens every
happening for years, yeah. And so that's just the way that it is, right?
It's
You
almost,
just deal with it.
it's almost just the way they do business. It's not, I don't consider it very efficient, but there are certain timelines that we have to approve it, just like the safety plan. A lot of times the safety plan,
Has
we'll get
blanks.
updates on the safety plan. We're getting updates on the safety plan now, but that's actually due they're really due in October,
Yeah,
okay? But you gotta have it finalized in March, but then you'll get new laws in January. So again, there's these organic documents that we have that we're constantly updating, we're constantly even taking stuff off of.
and so when some of the updates come, because I haven't remembered this happened in the past, we get a new paper that says, look, there's really true. Typically, we don't get anything.
No, typically not. We just have to approve this at this particular time.
Okay, so it's just sort of an activity we do up here.
Well, it's an activity they do everywhere.
Well, yeah, and we do it here yearly, and it always looks about the same,
Yeah.
but I just was curious about how serious we should be about this activity. Other than that we need to do it, you know, I'm not looking to break rules.
It's a bit compliant
Yeah.
for my taste.
Okay. Alrighty then, I'm ready, sorry.
I just want to say, I find it very frustrating to vote on something where the data is incomplete, and I realize that it's not the school district that's not providing the data, it's the state. And it just goes with my frustrations with the state is very disconnected, I think, from what is, they have this has to be approved by a certain date, but they can neglect to provide the data that's needed, and to me, it's outrageous. So, obviously, students aren't a priority of the state, or they've been providing the data that they are supposed to be providing on time, in a timely manner. So it's very frustrating to me. I feel dishonest approving something that the data's not there, and I realize it's the state, not the district. So it is.
Okay. So, will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
It passes. And now we have the approval of resolution 2023/24-5, participation in Stay Well Health Plan JPA.
You're looking at me like you want me to say something.
No, I'm just wondering what happens next. Or just,
It's an action item. If you want information, I would be happy to provide information.
I'd like some information.
What would you like to know?
Mostly how, I mean, I know what happened a few years ago, well, it wasn't a few, a number of years ago, about not continuing with Staywell. And then I heard, but I don't remember exactly the amount, how much it costs to get out of Staywell. Cost like money that you lose sort of in your retainer fees. And I just want to know if our district in particular is interested in discussing with other districts near us about a way to get out of such a commitment, or if that's even a thought, or anything. I'd like to know a lot more about.
Each unit is represented by a member.
Yeah.
In all the, I think there's 9 districts. Is there 9 districts that are part of Stay Well Health?
There should be less now.
Yeah.
Ukiah is the only one that's not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be 10, because MCOE is still Stay Well, so that's another district.
Yeah.
There's actually 12, so now there's 11. So they're all represented. There's ongoing discussions along the lines of what you're talking about in various districts and systems. There's power in numbers when it comes to healthcare. In terms of like your own JPA, your joint powers authority. You have to have have someplace to go. So if you leave, we have to let them know, a year in advance, and then you make that move, at a timely departure, but it has to be voted on by our own people. So.
Our own people, meaning the three that represent us.
Or they bring that information back. Or we talk about it during negotiations, or talk about it with the board. So, I mean, this is a very complicated and complex discussion that we will be having. And I will need to do a significant amount of survey with our site and our people, all 240 employees. I want to know what their feedback is from that particular ordinance. I mean, this is, again, I've never particularly seen a one-stop shop before, like it was one plan, but this is how it's been in this particular county for a long time, so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd be happy to discuss it with you, probably if you want, or the two of you, try to answer as many questions as possible. About whatever questions you might have are being arisen by various staff members.
Yeah, I have sort of been given a number of them. Most of the people that are concerned are people that weren't here 10 or 12 or whatever years ago it was, that we went through a really big evaluation of how to get out of where we were and how to find 3 insurance companies, which the district did, and brought them over to talk to us and how we could make the switch and how many other districts we needed to include. And to make sure that Staywell didn't choose to just drop everybody because they were annoyed and things. I mean, there's a number of things that come up.
Yeah.
But, and at that time, it had been an almost 2-year process of study, And I'm not sure that that's what you want to do for a couple of years. I'm not sure that anybody even wants to hear it. But I would like to know as much as you can get your hands on in the next few 6-8 months, whatever, to kind of give me a little better idea of what happens. It's super expensive, even though compared to some, they say, no, it's not. But compared to what they give you, yes, it is. And we don't have such a great insurance plan like a lot of people like to believe. Of course, I don't view even comparing us with the worst in order to say that we're good, But it's real important, I would think, and something we could look at.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
How do I read this out loud, the whole thing?
You can just read the title and do a roll
Read the
call.
title and topic, if you roll call vote.
So the title is, let me find the small one. Resolution of participation in Staywell Health Plan JPA for 2024/25. Resolution number 2023/24-5.
You've already got a first and a second.
No, she doesn't yet.
Should?
No.
Do I need to get everybody separately though?
You
How
do.
to vote?
It's a roll call vote.
Okay, so.
You need a motion first.
I move that we approve the resolution of participation in Staywell Health Plan JPA.
Thank you.
Second it.
Okay, so, Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Nunez,
There's no discussion.
Did you want to discuss? Or did anybody,
Can
isn't
you have
this now?
public questions?
It's okay.
I don't know that we have.
Public comments on agenda.
Well, we had public comment
Yeah,
on the
just
agenda.
for all of it, I guess.
You would work through your rep
Yeah.
for the discussion.
We were deciding what happened if you voted no.
And we wouldn't have health insurance next year.
okay. So we have Ms. King with a yes, Ms. Nunez,
With a yes.
Aye. Yes.
and yes. And then we need to have it signed, Michelle?
I have that, yes.
Okay. Is that the end of what we need to do here, or is?
We'll do it
Actually-
at the end of the meeting.
We have future
Right.
agenda items.
Yes. Okay, so that's taken care of. And the next thing is items for the next regular board agenda.
I'd like to know if maybe for real we could get a list of what maintenance is involved in right now, the maintenance, operations, transportation department, in particular maintenance, on some of the facility repairs. I know I've asked for it a number of times and we've gotten at least one that was pretty thorough, that it had a whole lot of to be arranged times on it, but at least it did make a list of things. I'm wondering if, given the changes that are gonna come up, we might have something like that. Or maybe that's not soon enough for, I mean, maybe that's too soon for next month, are you?
I was gonna suggest that maybe we
Oh,
wait
the
until
fall.
May,
Maybe.
because we'll give somebody, our new hire, a good 2 or 3 months to organize what we're gonna organize and get things in place.
So organized, and what they need to get organized means a tour so that they can
No,
see what they've
that's not
gotten
what I
into?
I mean,
Oh, what
that's
is,
project list and let's get going. I mean, we can do it in March, but I think that we're in January now, so February, March, and then we're gonna bring custodians into this as well. So it's not just one group, okay?
oh, I don't mean the reorganization, I mean like the group of tickets that exist and things that are being dealt with.
So you want.
That's too much to come up with also?
Not at
Is
all,
that on
but
a
that's gonna be
computer?
it's gonna be 1,000 items, a month. Tickets come in every day.
Yeah, but they're all registered on a computer, right?
Sure.
And then it's sort of like pushing, and then you can see the multitude of things that department needs to take care of.
Yes.
And sometimes that helps people see what their job is like as opposed to what they think so.
Sure, I can pull that down, there's an IT pull that down.
If you could, I'd really like to see it.
Okay. Absolutely.
Does it come with request dates?
I don't know, I just see the tickets, I've never seen the printout data,
Oh,
on a summary data, or weekly data, or monthly data report. I'd have to take a look at it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'd appreciate whatever you could get,
Okay.
please.
Anything else?
I'd like to circle back, I didn't really comment too much on Aurora's presentation, it was fantastic. I think the really important thing to realize is that we're moving forward on all the key barometer areas, and it's really important, because not everybody's moving forward. And we as a district are moving forward, and that's a testament to everybody in our system, top to bottom. And it's extremely important, that we kind of pay a significant amount of respect to everybody, all our 240 some odd people that are really beginning to drive this forward. And you can feel it on campus, you can feel it around. I mean, we have our bad days like everybody else, but we're having a whole lot more good days than we're having bad days. And our students are feeling it, and our staff is really getting after it. So it takes a lot to move the needle, 13%, 7%, and to drop chronic absenteeism or chronic attendance like it is. And so that's a very healthy effort among everybody to make sure that all the kids on one day are taking this test seriously and bringing their game to the table. And the teachers got to do a lot of work with that, and the site leaders too. So, as I kind of subtly mentioned, we have offered our director of maintenance and operations to a person. They're not completely onboarded yet, so I was hoping they were going to be completely onboarded by tonight, but they're not. So I can't really say the person's name until they're completely onboarded.
Does completely on board mean that they haven't got everything finished to be on board, or they just, oh, okay.
Fingerprints.
Yeah,
Yeah,
under,
but-
please.
I was like,
Yeah.
So I can't say somebody's name with their fingerprints, because you never know. Okay?
you never know.
You never know.
Stranger things have happened.
And I want to thank our charge for in the last, especially in the last year. I would like to think that our relationship has grown to where we're being very supportive of them and their efforts, and they're reaching out to me a lot more for their particular needs.
Thank
Is that
you.
fair to say?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so while we're all in a good mood, do I hear anybody make a motion to adjourn?
It's not 8 o'clock or anything.
I'm still
Get serious. You're allowed to make a motion, did you know? I learned that kind of way.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Well, I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank goodness.
Oh, we could have said no.